Welcome back to the Zander Insurance Countdown to Friday. We have a show in store for you. This guy right here, Coach Chris Hughes from Fairview. First off, he is a product of Fairview High School. And Coach, let's just start right where you were. You know, you're 10-0 right now in the regular season. You've already wrapped up the 6-3A title there, basically. But when I'm coming down 100, I'm seeing all these businesses saying, "Go Yellow Jackets." You know, it feels like 1979, so to speak. You were a kid back then, but that was the last time you were undefeated. Talk about it.
We didn't have all them stores back then. As a matter of fact, we didn't have any stores, and but we did have community support then. It was just on a smaller scale. Now, McDonald's is putting up signs. All the businesses, the transmission stores, putting up signs. We have people in the community come in and put signs up for the kids. It's just a lot of excitement generated, and we pack it out on Friday night. This town shuts down, so it's a pretty good thing.
I saw the VIP parking when I was coming down the street.
I'm telling you,
like,
that's a
must
new
be down
thing.
The street, huh?
That's a new thing. We this parking lot out right beside the field is VIP parking. Dr. Oyer wanted to make it where the people that get there, and she sold parking passes, and I was like, that's not going to work. Of course, it's packed. So it did work. She was right, and I was wrong. But you know, there's so much cost associated with games and stuff. I hate asking for extra money and doing that, which it doesn't go to football, it goes to school, which is kind of cool too, Brett. But yeah, we have. It is. It's been really good seeing how many people in the community come out and support us on Friday nights.
Chris, you being the dean of Williamson County.
That's
Coach,
crazy.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I don't feel as old as I am.
Well, obviously, we'll get to some of that in a second.
I'm mad at Crawford for leaving and coming back, because he's really the dean, don't you think? Ron's been here.
He's been around for a while, but
Yes,
he
total
left,
years
He
he's
left
got.
and came back.
I
Yeah, total
know.
years he's got you. But, you know, how special is it for you to have grown up here and to be back here and be in charge of this program when it's having the success that it's having?
Well, it makes me really proud. In fact, being at the middle school, and I never had, first of all, I never had aspirations to be a football coach. Second of all, I never had aspirations to be a high school coach. And I wanted to help Fairview. When I got the job at the middle school, it was because a guy didn't show up to work and they didn't have nobody. So that's how I got my job. Then for 12 years, we had really good teams. And then when I got offered the high school job, I took it. And we've just had really good kids, but it's really special to see how it's grown from then till now. Like over the last 20 years, it's gotten to where we've built a tradition that we're going to. One of the things that bothered me was coaches coming in and out every 2 years at the high school. And I had stability at the middle school level, but we were always changing offenses, changing people that are in charge. You know, it was an overhaul every, 3 or 4 years. And I think bringing stability has really been the most important. And it's really it's good, Mo. It's good.
And for you, I'm sure that you're coaching kids that you play with their parents and that kind of thing.
You know, I always tell people it's good and bad. I've got an open door policy. The parents know me real well. So, the good thing is they know my character. They know I'm not going to do anything to their kid. They trust me. The bad thing is they feel close enough they can talk to me when they don't agree with something. But it's really good. I don't have a lot of, I hear these other horror stories about hovering parents and parents doing this. Our parents are involved, but they're not on top of us. They support what we do. The kids support what we do, and it's really good. And I think that does build up because they do see me out. They do know who I am. A lot of them grew up with me and either were older or younger. Now they've got kids, which is kind of weird. Because you see that, and like I told you, I don't feel as old as I am, and I see these people, and I'm like, I went to school with your mom, and she goes, I know, she told me, and then he's playing for me, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy, but
gotta say definitely the trust, because Daddy Ball is a real thing, and if they see who you are and how you do things, there's no questioning that, so therefore they don't need to be in your office all the time.
Well, and anybody that knows my competitiveness, I have one thing to say about Daddy Ball. I'm playing who I think is going to help me win. Now, they may have a different opinion, but my job depends on the W's. I'm not worried about who's mama or daddy or who's giving money to the program. That stuff doesn't happen here, and that's another good thing because they know Coach Hughes is going to play who. Now, they may not agree with who I play, but they know in my mind I'm playing who I think is helping me win. I don't care if they're a 9th grader, 10th grader, 11th grader, or whatever. And it's worked out well for us, and all our coaches are on board. I've got a great staff.
We were talking off camera. You and I played softball together back in the day, so I can speak to his competitiveness. Trust me.
Yeah, made a lot of enemies back then. I've seen people.
Were you a trash talker, Coach?
Oh man, I still am. Look, but I was telling you, Mo. I was a pitcher. I'd be talking like.
our dugout, we used to call him Show Dog.
Yeah.
That's what we called him. I don't know what they were calling him across the
Well,
field.
I'd pitch and slow pitch and maybe trying to hit line drives at me. So I had to, my verbal defense is what I was using. But the competitive side is something I think we instill in our players. Like all my coaches, that's the first thing I look for. Are they competitive? Do they want to win? We hate to lose. Now, we try to do it in the right way, but because it builds character, but it's tough. Nobody likes to lose. So I think if you have a bunch of coaches and players that are real competitive and want to win and everything, you're going to be really good.
Speaking of the winning, let's go back to Harpeth. The game didn't start out necessarily like you wanted it to particularly. They jumped out on you guys a little bit before you guys balanced things out and then ran away with it. I think you had like 380 something on the ground versus 139. Your boys, Hunter Caldwell and Jake Epps, got after you. Talk about that game a little bit.
Well, here's the thing. They came in 8-1 and we were 9-0. We didn't know. We'd watch film. I'd watched them play Camden. Camden beat them, and I was like, well, I feel good about it. But when we get in the game, what we noticed is Walker Weatherly, their quarterback, made a lot of plays scrambling and throwing downfield. Well, guess what happened on the first possession? He scrambled around, threw downfield. The ball got tipped. They went 68 yards for a touchdown. And then they botched the extra point and threw in a 2-point conversion. So we had two things. I told my coach, I said, man, they got a rabbit's foot. That's just crazy. I was like, and Coach Jackson was on the headset. He said, hey, Coach, let's let it play out. That stuff won't last. That stuff won't last. And our kids don't panic. Like, we've been in situations, we've won a lot of games. You don't go 10-0 unless you just by beating everybody. We've gotten lucky at the end and finished games. We come through and we score with 30 seconds left. We kick a field goal with no time on the clock. But this game with Harpeth, we thought would be really tight. And once our kids, I can remember when they scored and went up 8-0, Brad. 3 or 4 kids behind me said, it's all right, Coach, we're going to score, patted me, no panic at all. And we went out and we drove the ball down, we scored, we held them, we scored again, we held them, we scored again, and then we just started pitching it right, pitching it left to Hunter and Jake, and they did the rest. But the blocking up front, we have preached all year being more physical. We worked hard in the weight room, we built character, and the physicality. Stratford beat us 35-0 last year. And
39-0.
39, thank you. By the way, I'm glad Mo remembers that because he brings me bad luck when he comes to the games. But when they beat us that bad, I was upset, and I was like, we just got whipped physically. And so we came back and preached, hey, you got to be tougher, we got to be more hard-nosed. And that's kind of what we've sold to the kids on, is that this year I feel like we are tougher, we are more physical, we are more prepared to play those physical teams, which is what East Nashville's bringing. So we're gonna hopefully match that intensity and play with that physicality that's got us to where we are right now.
I've told people over the course of this season that there are 2 games from last year that you're coaching off of. 38-7 out of Page and 39-0 here against Stratford in the opening round of the playoffs. How much of a motivation were those 2 games for you guys over the offseason and coming into this year?
I'm going to tell you, Page has got a really good team. And people don't, Marshall County got them pretty good last week, but they're a really good bunch of kids over there, and especially compared to us, with 4-8, 3-8. But we've talked about Page all summer. That was the thing. We can't lose this game again. We had the Battle of 840, and Page kids and our kids, they're tweeting back and forth and talking. And I was like, look, we've got to win this game. Last year, I felt like that loss propelled us into another loss. And I said that we can beat Page. It's going to propel us into a few wins. And that's exactly what happened. But that game got us. Now, the Stratford game, it sits with me worse than anybody. It's the first game in 20 years that I didn't score. Even at the middle school, we got beat, but we always scored. For us,
I think you told me that after the game.
I was so upset, and I didn't want to tell my kids, but when we were down 39-0 and we had the ball on the 6-yard line, I almost kicked a field goal and I was like, you know what? It ain't about me. It's about I've got to get the touchdown and try to. But you still sat with me. I'm like, how can we not score? I feel like our offense is very efficient and potent. We can explode for big points, and that bothered me. And I told our kids, I said, look, these teams that we're playing in the playoffs, it's going to be tough. We're not going to be putting up 40 points, but if we can score 21, 28 points and be efficient and keep the defense off the field, it's going to make a huge deal. But those 2 games, Stratford and Page, are what's motivated us to get. Now Stratford's motivated us to win playoff games. Page motivated us in the regular season.
So we are down here in deep Williamson County. And, when you talk about Williamson County, Coach, you think of Brentwood and Franklin, Centennial, Independence, all these schools, but you guys have your own little section down here in Williamson County that you're pretty much ruling, aren't you?
I tell people all the time, Brad, this is the best secret in Williamson County. A lot of people don't know, and I say this all the time because some people don't even know we're in Williamson County. If you were to ask just somebody in Franklin, Whereas Fairview, they may not even be able to tell you. Like, it's over that way towards Dixon. But when you look at it, I love it because here's the thing I get kids that are really academic, they really hit the books hard, and then they're hard workers too, and they come from a good family. I mean, this is a great place to raise a family. And I know that because I was raised here. Now, it's totally different now than when I grew up, but it's really being a part of a Williamson County school because Williamson County excels in academics, athletics, everything we do, ACT score, and that's something to hang your hat on. Our kids are proud to be from Williamson County.
Sure.
Here's the thing, we're just the smallest school. So then we get to play that card that we're the redheaded stepchild. And and then we get a little chip on our shoulder because we're like, we don't have the things that they got. We got them, but at the same time, our kids are, I mean, if you look around at our facilities, our field, our equipment, we are right there on par with those other schools in the county at a smaller level, and it's really beneficial for our kids and our coaches. It's good stuff.
You talk about chip on your shoulder, Chris. You guys, again, were undefeated during the regular season. You finally broke into the Associated Press Class 3A state poll going into the Harpeth game. How much of that no respect card were you playing with your team?
The last few years we've been overrated, and this year I feel like we've been a little underrated. So I was like, you know what? They don't know. Nobody believes it, y'all. And I tell my team all the time. I said, look, only people that can beat Fairview is Fairview. If we play bad, then we're gonna lose. But if we play Fairview, we play as good as we can. We're gonna beat anybody in front of us. And they have taken that and ran with it. And the other thing about not being ranked, because they'll look at it and go, well, that's all right, because on Coach T we're number one. On the mid-state small schools, we're number 2 behind Stratford. And I said, yeah, but the AP, man, that's what everybody looks at. So I was using it for a while. We didn't even have honorable mention for a long time, but I was like, look, they don't even know we're here. But I like flying under the radar, because I will say this. I think when our kids get to seeing that ranking and feeling it, they start feeling a little too good about themselves. And I think there's a lot to be said for them thinking, you know what, we're going to have to strap it on and go, because that team over there don't believe it. Harpeth didn't believe we was going to beat them, so, and I like playing the teams that think they're going to win. It's no fun playing the team that well, they're not going to beat. We're going to beat them. And it's the same way on the other side. You want a competitive game, but I like the fact that this year they've been able to play that. Hey, we're not the big time favorite like we've been the last 3 years.
They've been able to play that.
Well, they're buying in.
I like you two's relationship. That's pretty cool.
I tell you though, Brad, our kids know. Like, it's the thing about being here. Like, they probably know more about that stuff than I do. Like, they keep up with, because I'm not a big social media guy. Our kids are on Twitter, they're on Facebook, they're on all of the social media sites that talk about sports. Like, heck, 10 of my kids told me about Jalen Hurd before I knew it, and that's the thing. I'm not as up to it, but they'll tell me, hey, we're not ranked, or they'll say, hey, we had a highlight on this website, and I'll be like, that's awesome, and I'll try to share with them. But all the things that they're getting to experience right now, this has been a great year regardless of what happens. I would hate for it to fizzle against this, but let's be honest, when you get to the playoffs, everybody's good. So you got to bring it every game. You have a bad game, you're done. That's the beauty of the playoff system. It's one and done.
Absolutely. Hey, Coach Hughes, you mentioned the next level. A lot of pride in that wall right over here just outside of your office. Jackets at the next level.
Yeah.
You just talk about how much it means to you to have kids be able to play at that next level.
Well, we talk about it all the time, because the 3A school, Brad, and like you were highly recruited 5-star, so you had people knocking your door down. Kid that we're playing this week from East Nashville got an offer from Oklahoma, taking Oklahoma commit. So we don't have Oklahoma and Alabama beating our door down. So when we can get kids in any school and get their college paid for, we feel like it's a big step. And what I want our kids to see, especially our younger kids, is if you work hard and do what you need to do, you can get your picture up there, because you can go to college and play football. And I think what they understand is that ACT score and those grades open doors to colleges you don't have open to. I had a kid that's a senior right now who has a 30 ACT and a 4.6 GPA and had an official visit to Princeton. That's stuff that we don't have. You're not going to have that.
Right.
I got some kids that might be better than him, but they're not getting calls from Princeton. So we're selling the kids on getting into college, getting that education, and then letting it go, because the percentages of making it to every next level.
For sure.
Even from here to college, it's a low percentage. So I do take a lot of pride in that. And before I got here, I felt like we didn't put enough people in schools. And what I think was happening was, well, you know what? MTSU's not interested in me, so I'm just not going to play college football. And I'm like, listen, Bethel, Cumberland, Sewanee, Lindsey Wilson. There's
Right.
other Tusculum. There's other schools. I got a kid at Tusculum right now, and I'm like, these schools, if they're paying for your education, there's no bad place to go.
Right, basically, yeah. I'll tell you what, though, Coach, not to knock on any of the other coaches that we've talked to, but you're the only one that's mentioned academics numerous times here during our interview. No, I'm serious. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just saying, you know,
Yeah.
how many times did you mention ACT scores?
Yeah.
Or making sure that that's part of your game, so that way you can play and you know, get an opportunity at the next level.
We've been
Part of
doing grade checks weekly, and we give the class
Wow.
that wins something that week. Like this week, it's going to be cookies. One week it was popsicles. But on Thursday, we announced what grade level had the fewest people with failing grade.
Wow.
And that's caused a little competition, and then other ones, and then, but every week we'll say, hey, you're behind in these two classes, Mo, you need to pick it up, and they'll do that. And
That would be me.
yeah. And here's the thing, I was there too, so I understand. Like when a kid's failing the class, I'm like, what is it? He's like, AP calculus, and I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, yeah,
Do better.
I can't sit down and go, let me help you with that. 'Cause I'm like, you know, you got any division or multiplication? I can do it. But it's good because we have really smart kids, and it's helped us. I think it helps us on the field, and I think that our character and our intelligence, everything together, is what makes it go on Friday night. So.
All right, Coach, wrapping up, we got East Nashville this week. Now, I was asking Mo, how in the world does a team that's below 500 get into the first round of the playoffs, but they're playing really well right now? Tell us what you got to do to come out of that one.
They're not just playing well; they got athletes everywhere. So, you know, we're going to have to be really solid and not make mistakes, and then we're going to have to capitalize when they make mistakes. It's almost one of these chess matches where who's gonna make a bad move first. And I think if we can take, because we know moving the ball, East Nashville's defense is really good. They fly around to the ball. They're big up front. The linebackers are two of the best, probably the two best we played all year. And the guy beside Phillips, number 40, he's as good as Phillips in my opinion. He's just a foot and a half shorter, so he ain't getting the same looks. But they fly around, so we've got to do a good job of getting a hat on the offensive side and wrapping up on the defensive side. The thing about their guys on offense, they're not real sophisticated what they do. They're going to sweep right, sweep left, do a few things, but they're athletes in space. If we don't wrap them up, then they're going to take it to the house. So we're working on making sure we've got them corralled and throwing that net, keeping them boxed in. Coach Black says all the time, throw the net right there. You don't get it, you got to have it covered, you know, because if there's a little opening in the net, they're going to fly right through. And we've given up too many long touchdowns this year, and they're very capable of doing that. I do think our confidence level is at an all-time high because of the season we've had. And but I think East Nashville's coming in here planning to win. You know, like I said, every team's good in the playoffs, and I'm sure Coach Wade's got them ready to go, and they'll be in here, and it's going to be a battle Friday.
I guarantee you.
Yeah,
that's the
I
truth.
guarantee you.
Hey, before we let you go, Coach Hughes, you and Maurice played some softball together. Tell us one juicy story about Mo in the box or on the baseball field.
Well, let me tell you, I'm going to say this. Mo was a base hitter.
Okay.
But he wasn't stretching many doubles. You know, he'll put it in a place and move the runners up, and he would do. Hey, but Mo was a solid. We had some competitive games back in the. People don't realize how competitive those rec sports are for adults. When you lose your, you can't play pro football anymore. Well, you might can.
No, I'm done.
But you need something to get that feeling.
Right, I get you.
Me and Mo, we got our feeling out there doing that. You know, it's a slow-pitch softball or flag football or whatever it is you do. You know, that 1-on-1, 10-on-10, 8-on-8, whatever it is, it gives you that competitive thing that we need, and Mo's a competitor.
Yep.
And that's what, I am too. We want to win. So it was some good times, but it was a long time ago. I can't hardly remember.
Oh, he's making a sign. This cat's
But we're MTSU alumni, so we played on campus too. We played everywhere. So yeah.
Shockingly enough, this guy right here is a quarterback for the adult flag football team. So national champions too. At some
Yeah,
point.
Mean Machine out of Nashville.
Mean Machine.
A lot of football coaches there. We got some Cheatham County coaches, some Antioch coaches. So we got coaches all over.
You still trash talk to them too?
I to everybody. And hey, but it's fun. It's like, you know what? I don't take it home with me. Some of them do. I like after it's over. I'm like, man, I love you. Let's go. I got to go to work Monday. Let's go. So it's a weekend fun, Brad. Weekend fun.
Well, that's going to wrap it up from down here in Yellow Jacket Country, the home of obviously the Fairview Yellow Jackets. This is Coach Chris Hughes. Back to you guys in the studio.
Like who else would it be, Brad? Yeah, it's us.
Heck yes.
How fun! What a character that guy is, though, for real.
He's been a character for a long time. When he first got the head coaching job out at Fairview, I called him and I said, you're going to be a head coach at the high school level.
Did you laugh?
Oh, yeah, we both laughed because I think he was about as surprised as I was.
Friday Night Lights, that's what it reminded me of when we were driving down the stretch of 100 there with all the signs and stuff and people well wishing the 10-0 Yellow Jackets right there. So, hey, listen, we got to go to a break. When we come back in studio, Titan safety Rashad Johnson is in the on-deck circle. And as we go to the break, take a look right here at NBA versus Ensworth. Stick around for more of the Zander Insurance Countdown to Friday. We'll be right back.